So I'm going to do a quick walk around of our 1972 AMC Javelin AMX. It is a true AMX car. I just wanted to kind of do a quick review of all the modifications that I've made and some of the history of the car. Just mostly for my purposes, but if anybody's actually interested in looking at it, then I'll walk you through what we have done with the vehicle to this point. So I wanted to start with the interior. Nothing major here, and I will do a kind of a running video of it, but you can see it's pretty stock. Nothing crazy here. One thing I did want to do is kind of go with a retro 80s feel to it, with some modern touches. So you can see I've got a Sony AM/FM cassette deck in here. I bought this pretty much used, of course, but the person I bought it from actually had the original box and all the original components that were in it. All the install components, all the wiring harness, everything. So it was a very simple install. Future plans include a hidden radio that meets up with it. I will go to the back and show you the rear deck, but I did add some newer Sony speakers. However, they don't sound very good at this point. So we'll go from there. But I've pretty much had the entire dash out, kind of rebuilt everything inside. The heater box has been completely rebuilt. I've cleaned up the weather eye system a little bit, and added new cables where necessary. I have not touched the AC system yet in the car, so there's nothing there that's different. Eventually may convert all this to a vintage air style system with a new compressor and everything. I'll show you under the hood and give you a little history on that, but suffice to say there's no compressor. The condenser is shot, and the system is pretty much not hooked up. One thing that we do have in this car, and it's kind of beat up, is we print our own shifter handles, and this is a 3D print in a similar color to the interior. However, when I put it in, I kind of glued it to the handle assembly. I beat on it to pull it out, and it actually loosened up. I do have a new one printed. It's in black, but you can see I've imprinted the AMX logo on it. I do sell these through Alex Gorelek, and so if you want one of these, you can get them from him. We don't make a ton of money on them, but it does cover our costs. You can see I've also got a button here. That's for the line lock, which we will talk about at some point. We also have 3D prints of the vents that are still in process. We've got some of the smaller ones done with some kind of thicker, higher quality parts, so that eventually we'll have those up for sale too at some point. Not a huge priority. My son does those, and he's on remote work, flying airplanes, so doesn't have a lot of time for that. Pretty much had the entire dash out and redone everything. Oh, another thing, we did do one of the clock kits, so the clock now works again. All the gauges except for the fuel sending unit work. Everything's fine. Mileage on the car right now shows 42,203. That is not actual, but it's not that far off. The speedometer cable, which I'll talk about at some point, was disconnected. I've only put about 1,000 miles on this car, maybe not even that many, since I bought it, and it did work when I picked it up. But speedometer cable went out. Another thing that we did do, it's kind of a modern touch. I threw in a Wolf box rear view mirror. Use the original mount. I still have all the original parts, so I can put those back in. I do have a backup camera. It does have a a camera in the system, and a lot of other functionality. So if you're interested, it was pretty easy install, nothing crazy, but it took me a couple hours, and it does have a satellite receiver that sits on the dash. So that's kind of the interior for the most part. Some of the lights don't work. I didn't have a console cover, so I 3D printed one. It's not perfect. It's just kind of an original design, but I wanted to have some cup holders. So that may all get refitted. As you guys probably know, if you are watching this, these green interiors are hard to match parts for. So it's kind of just do it as you can. I've also replaced the turn signal indicator, multiple iterations of the horn. Finally got it to where it works correctly. So for the most part, everything's done. One thing I did do also is add, I don't know if you can see it in the lighting, a low-car hood release latch. And I mounted it right there, and it does not interfere with the vent. So that works pretty well. Several lights, like I said, that don't work inside. For the most part, all the ones you need do. The shifter, and I'll get into kind of some of the mechanical stuff, but the shifter is not interlocked at all. It does have the latch in it, which didn't have when I bought it. I had to source the little metal rod that goes into here. My son designed the shifter handles. We've got a couple different designs. I just happened to do this one in green. So works pretty well. Otherwise, the interior is pretty good shape. The seats are not original. They're the original seats to the car, but they've been reupholstered. The seat buckets still need a lot of work. I've got the other one out. I'm gonna do some adhesive. I've done a lot of work in the back up here. I had to repair a bunch of the panels. We did 3D print some speaker grills that we have. So I've also sent that design out to folks if they're interested. So if you're interested, let me know. I'm not gonna charge anything for that. It's just a design. I had to rebuild the whole rear package tray. I can go show you from the outside, but found some really thin Luan and then put leather over the top of it. So from the outside, the car is pretty much as it came to me. It's a good 20-foot car. It does have Krieger SS's. There's 15x8s on both sides, front and back. I'm running a 275 60/15 in the back. These tires are shot. They do need to be replaced. Looking at going with a little wider setup in the future and maybe going to a 295 50/15 or a 325 50/15. One thing about these AMXs, there's plenty of room in the wheel wells to hold bigger wheels and tires. Going to the front, it's also a 15x8. You'll see the sneaky little Willwood calipers in there. So that's the big project that we've done with this car. Replace the front rotors with Willwoods. They're the small ones. Probably could have gone a bigger size with these, but I did not know at the time. And one thing that I did have to do is go to a smaller tire, because I did lower the car in the front 1 5/8 inches with lowering plates, so that widened the stance just a little bit. About what are the plates? I think the plates are 5/8, so overall a little bit more over an inch. So I went with a 205 60/15 on wheels and tires. As you go around to the front, one of the issues I have with the car, I don't know if you can pick that up, but under the decal there's a lot of bubbling, and that's some kind of paint reactivity with the AMX hood, the previous owner said. So that'll have to get fixed eventually, but overall it's a pretty good 20-foot car. So if you go into the trunk, one of the things you will notice is there's a big box back here. So we did move the battery back here, put it in a Summit box. Picked up a factory replacement trunk lid, but this car virtually has no rust in it whatsoever. It's a lifelong Southern car, most of the time in Arkansas. And I can also see the Schrader valve for the air shocks that were in it when I bought it. No longer has those, so I'll give you a little preview of that as well. So just a little shot of this side of the car. One thing you will notice is some big 3-inch exhaust pipes coming out the back, along with my little vanity plate that I've got stuffed in here. Once again, it's a 20-foot car. The bumpers are all shot beyond repair. They all need to be re-chromed. The front one actually needs to be replaced because I'll talk about that at some point. See, even the trunk light works. So pretty good shape overall. One thing that we want to talk about is the grill. This thing had a 1974 Chevy Blazer grill in it when I bought it. It had the lower lights instead of the vents. It is an AMX car. When I bought the car, it had the AMX grill in it, or grill with it, but it was in terrible shape. I don't know if you can see that there. This is the original grill that was in it. So I was able to order a bunch of replacement parts for it and repair it. I did have to source the light housings through one of the AMC vendors, and I bought the backing pieces for the housings off eBay from another vendor. But let's raise the hood here. Hold on. So under the hood, pretty standard, or at least so it looks. When we did the Wilwood brakes, we also did a Wilwood master cylinder. Had to do a bunch of rerouting. You can see the line locks right there, and proportioning valve down there as well for the rear drums. This was a disc brake car, factory discs. The calipers were seized up, so rather than rebuild it, I just threw Wilwoods in it. We may eventually throw Wilwoods in the back too. Did have the windshield wiper motor and assembly redone. That was done by one of the AMC vendors. They've done a really good job. The interesting thing about this car is that the original 360 727 transmission combo in it is no longer in it. It's got a 343 out of a 69 AMX, along with the Borg Warner M11 transmission. Both of those are freshly rebuilt when I bought it. The 343, the owner said it was 60 over. I can only verify through paperwork that it was 30, but it could have been redone before he had it redone a second time, so it's hard to say. It's got the original chrome valve covers on it. I did throw a set of headers on it that I found locally for a couple $100. I wrapped them and then had to make a bunch of modifications to get them to fit. Had to reroute the dipstick in the oil pan due to clearance issues. That was a big project, and also had to redo the oil cooler fittings and all that. So it's got AN fittings and braided line, you can kind of see down there, for all the oil cooler, or the transmission cooler fittings, sorry. I replaced the alternator in it. It was shot when I got it, and you can see some of the cabling for the relocation kit. It's also got a mini starter on it. I can't remember the name of the vendor, but he's one of the common AMC vendors. It's not a standard starter. It's one of the ones that are clockable as far as that goes. Can't forget to mention the car replica housing back here. Pretty penny, but well worth it, and made that grill assembly project pretty easy to put together. So like I said, nothing crazy here. Fairly strong engine, runs pretty well. Still had the brake-in oil in it when I got it, and then the M11 transmission had just been rebuilt as well. So it's a nice little cruiser, but it does run down the road pretty well. Another thing I want to talk about is I kind of got into the rear suspension and shocks. I know it's kind of probably hard to see, but we do have except for the springs, we have a full Caltrac rear suspension setup in it, with shocks and the ladder bar kit as well. So it does have the Calvert Racing shocks in it. And you'll notice the big stainless 3-inch exhaust. So it does hang pretty low. We'd like to get that taken care of at some point, but it does sound really good. It kind of robs me of a little bit of power, but I didn't build it for this engine, and that's something else I'll talk about in a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and start it real quick, so you can hear it. And once you get some gas in it, sorry, missing the keys, in the carb, it doesn't like to start super cold. But once you get some gas in it, it's got a nice little rumble to it. So, nice little setup. And while I mentioned the engine's not going to stay in there forever, we're looking at going with the TKX, because my wife has her project car right there. You can see it's a 64 Corvair convertible in my messy garage. And this is what's going to eventually go into the AMX, and that's a 401 block. Just kind of trying to decide what we want to do with it as far as power levels and cost and spend and all that. So eventually we'll get there. So, but quick little run around of the car. Like I said, lots of work to do yet. 5-speed 401 is going to go in there. Probably have to look at some additional cooling capacity. And you'll notice, although it's an air conditioning car, it doesn't have a compressor. Well, I have the compressor, but I don't have the brackets. So eventually this engine and transmission combo will be for sale. Don't know when, but we'll pull this out and stab that 401 in there and call it good. Probably new wheels and tires at some point. I like the look of the Cragars, but may just need to go wider in the back and a little narrower in the front. But overall, it's a good run car and does really well, and I'm going to wrap that up for here. So if you have any questions, leave a note in the comments. Thanks.